Happy Thursday. How's it going, guys? Happy Thursday and welcome to the Fix It in Camera live stream. I'm not exactly sure what I should call this thing, but I'm definitely trying out lots of different things. So I wanted to have an opportunity to chat with you guys. And why does that keep playing? That doesn't. There you go. Look at that. Hey, my stuff is working. All right. Let's give people some time to get into the stream. And Luis, hello. Seer the 6th. Leo, again, Seer the 6th. Jasim, how you guys doing? Sergio, listen to the confidence in the voice. Absolutely. So I definitely want to chat with you guys about, first things first, I want to talk about the giveaway that I mentioned in the last 2 streams. And I wanted to do something, literally have names. Can you see that? There's names in a hat. There's names in a hat, literally. So I'm going to dig into it. All these names, they are different. They are different. Sounding all good. All right. I didn't have looping and voiceover. So if you guys submitted your name into this pile, then it's right here. And I'm going to, no cheating. Who's it going to be? All right. I'm serious. I'm choosing one. Ready? Here we go. And I'm going to choose this one. So, first and foremost, the winners the people that didn't win. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So here we go. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. And go right here. Let's see. Can we focus? Focus. Can you focus on? There you go. And the winner is... Oh. And the winner is Cut Tooth Room. Sorry, I didn't know your name. I just know your handle. So I will be reaching out to you for that prize. Congratulations. Everyone give him a big round of applause and some thumbs up. That was awesome. And just to show you that there were all individual names. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. There was just enough people for me to do a in the hat thing. So that was fun. It's a scam. I picked it off the floor. Oh, damn it. You know my secrets. All right. So today we're going to be talking about something that kind of continues off of what we were talking about last week. So this week's stream is about starting over. So if you guys have any stories that you want to share about starting over, because they're starting over, they're starting over, and one is literally starting from zero, and the other one feels like you're going back to zero, but you're not. And I want to kind of touch in on this because if any of you spent any time building anything, you know that uneasy feeling that you get in your stomach when you know you need to stop it right there and then start again. It's an uncomfortable place to be. And this really all started because of the last video that I posted about the 5 things that are actually more important to upgrade than your camera. And if you haven't seen that video, I talk a lot about stuff that isn't camera, but it's camera related. So it all started with that video. I had this idea, which I felt was actually quite solid. I liked the idea. I liked that what I was trying to communicate in that video. But when I filmed it, I wrote it, I filmed it, I did B-roll for it. But then when I put it together, it was just... there's something it didn't feel like I was driving the point home. I didn't feel like I was communicating as clearly as I wanted to in that space, like to really, really communicate why these things are so much more important to camera. Because obviously there's a minimum threshold that you need to do anything camera related. I get that. I understand that. You need a camera and some kind of microphone if you want to do video. So the video actually relates to camera and to video and to photography. But it was more skewed to the video side and communicating using stories. But even when I talk about composition and lighting and even editing, like the way you edit your photo, the way you crop in and do all that post work, that really does imply. And a lot of people actually came by and they were saying, it's like, story is king. Story is the thing that is the most important. And I agree. But without those fundamentals, you can't tell a story accurately or efficiently. Or not efficiently, but you can't communicate to the place that you want to. You won't be able to draw your audience in even if you have a story, because a story is about unfolding as it goes. So if like all the masters of visual storytelling, they have those fundamentals down. They understand color and lighting and framing and camera movement and how audio design plays such a big role. So anyways, point being is that I filmed everything and I knew what I wanted to say. But as soon as I put it all together, it felt like it just wasn't clear enough. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take what I've learned and I'm going to start again, essentially. And this all becomes very relevant down the road. So I started again. I filmed a second time. I added extra pieces. I filmed extra B-roll. I edited that part in. And then again, I watched it. And this is a short video. So it's like, I'm talking like 5 minutes worth of content that I felt wasn't working. And maybe it was me being my own biggest critic. But again, I watched it and it just didn't feel like it was communicating well enough. So I had a moment right there where I was like, okay, do I just scrap the whole thing and move on to the next one and just, forget about it. Maybe come back to it at a later date. But something in me just kept saying, no, it's a solid idea and I want to get it out there. I want it on my channel as something that can live there and do what it needs to do over the long run to communicate to, younger filmmakers, people that are so obsessed with gear that it's just like, no, you don't need that. And it was very interesting that in that same time that I was making this video and filming it, so many other channels were like Alpha Gaming, Harris Keller. They made several videos about this as well. Chris and Becky, they made a video about this. And I'm just like, so there was a point where I was just like, maybe I should just let it go because it's already out there. But again, I remembered someone saying that if it's not on your channel, it doesn't exist. So I was like, fine, I'm going to finish it through. So I finally put it all together, started for a third time, restarted for a second time, and I put it together and it came out. And I think it communicates well enough. And I was able to use pieces from all the other times. And I was able to use what I learned from the other 2 attempts. So I wasn't starting back from zero. I didn't have to start from scratch. I was starting from a decent starting point. So I knew where I was going with it. I knew where I wanted to be. All right. So that's how this live stream came about starting over. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, let's go through some comments and let's see what is what. All right. Oh, and by the way, all the other names in here are my name. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? Okay. So Jassim says, one starting from zero, the other one feels like starting over from zero. Yes, but again, because we're at a point where we're starting from a place of already learned mistakes and learned knowledge, there's never really starting unless you're starting literally something brand new. And then you get to a point where you have to make a choice, like, is this working or is it not? And you kind of figure that out. But when you have to restart something and you've already put in all this time and all this effort, which feels like, it's like, oh, it just feels like you wasted all that time and all that effort, and you have to restart, but you're never starting at the same pace. It's like starting over, but with a rocket on your back. Sure, it can explode on the way forward, but you'll blow past all those things that slowed you down in the beginning, all those learning points, all those things. Like it's like you're running the second time you're starting because you've done all those things. And so I was able to get through those two other iterations of this video. Again, it was a simple video, but I had to restart over and over again. And I chose to persevere and make the video and put it out there. And I think that's what I love about the creative space is that every project that you start, you are starting over. And you start a project and you have to figure out all the pieces to it. And then you get to a point where it comes to a literal end. And then you let it go and you kind of say, what's next? And then you move on to that next thing, which I think is awesome. And it's a habit that you get into in the creative space. So I love being in this. And that is true from, the simplest 15-second YouTube videos all the way to feature films and books. There's this pattern that you get into where you finish one project and then you move on to the next one. All right. So Seer the Six says, do not forget starting a new chapter similar to starting over. You have progress. Exactly. You always bring that knowledge forward and you grow that knowledge and you've learned from those mistakes. And then you move on to, you have the wisdom to not make those same mistakes again. And that's a powerful thing. That's a very powerful thing. So Philip is asking, do I have a subreddit or Discord server? No, I do not. Well, technically I do, but I haven't done anything with either one of those yet. It's just something that I haven't pursued just yet. Maybe I should. There's a Facebook page, but I don't really do much with it because there's only a few people on there, and if I can find places to start conversations on, I think I will pursue that a little bit more. Okay, let's see. That's exactly right. Restarting allows you to use prior skills gained and your skill stacking on everything that you do. It's actually, it's a great place to be. And this kind of, it translates to everything. It translates to everything. Like starting a brand new job where a lot of people hesitate and they stay at the job that they're at, and they kind of stay loyal to that job, and they work and they do all these things. But it's actually been shown that a lot of people are scared to move on to another job because of the huge change that happens and how they feel that they have to restart all over. New locations, new routines, new coworkers, new processes, new jargon. But I was reading an article the other day where it's actually shown that if an employee is at a company for more than 5 years, they're getting paid less, 50% less than they could be at the exact same position at a new job. Because a lot of jobs, they value new employees over existing ones because there's this mentality that goes on. Like, why would they intentionally increase their expenses when they know someone's going to be staying? It's this weird backwards thing. They love that people are loyal because they're getting the same service or the same kind of output out of them as if that person left, they'd have to hire someone for way more money to do the exact same thing. So it's an interesting thing. And that's why sometimes maybe restarting is a good thing. And this flows over into like every single aspect of life. Moving to a new city, moving from an old house to a new house, you have to change those routines. But that's actually what makes this whole thing exciting. And there are people that like just love the whole aspect of always new, always new. So Have you guys had any aspects that you literally had that feeling where you had to restart? And this is, I don't know about this thing. Maybe the mic's not heavy enough. So I'm really liking this mic, but I think I need to adjust the... So the whole point of this live stream today is to say that it is okay to start over. In fact, it is actually really good. And it's one of those things where you, even if you save up for something that you want to buy and then you buy that thing, then you have to spend all that time you spent saving up, you have to restart that saving process again. It's so like, and I'm part of that too, where I don't like spending money if I don't have to, because the moment you spend it, you always have this like, oh, I don't want to, I've saved up so much, it's so good. And then you spend it, but then it's always so much better, because when you do use the money for the things that you're saving up for, then you have that joy that you're able to bring from it. And then you just start again, and it's over and over again. So I wanted to ask you guys a question. So I've been doing live streams for 3 weeks straight now. So this is my fifth live stream. Are you guys okay with a weekly live stream, or should I go to a monthly thing? I wanted to start this live stream so I can get better just talking through my thoughts instead of being them scripted, and trying to get really comfortable in front of the camera. And it was one of those things where starting this YouTube channel, it's technically my third YouTube channel, and I did have that hesitation of starting again another one. But because I learned from those other two what was working, what I liked doing, I was able to translate that into these now live streams, which I find very interesting, because the very first one that I did, I didn't know that I kept asking myself, how am I going to talk for 30 minutes, let alone an hour? Because I'm always so much inside my head that it was definitely a little bit daunting to begin. And that was one of those things. I've never done a live stream before, so that I can say I was genuinely starting from zero. I had no experience. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I knew I wanted to talk about cameras. I knew I wanted to talk about all the fun stuff that we're learning here on these things. Reggie, thank you for the vote of confidence. Basha, you as well. Weekly is fun because you share your thoughts behind the videos you post. Exactly. And doing these live streams, it allows me to articulate thoughts about videos that I'm thinking about doing. And I get to say them out loud. I get to say that kind of stuff that, like, is it a big enough thought? Can I actually do something a little bit more? So I want to do a video about the power of yes and no, and kind of talk about that. I want to talk about, maybe do a video about like these kind of things. So these are thoughts that they don't necessarily fit into the theme of the channel, but I get to connect with you guys and have discussions that are a little bit broader than a 5-minute curated video about something, either a tutorial or some kind of insider thought or my thought process on something that I think is actually really, really valuable. This is more of a way for me to communicate with you guys and just hear your thoughts about your opinion on, I have these random thoughts. Like, there are so many things that I have interest in, but I'm really trying to keep my channel focused onto fixing it in camera and finessing in post, and talking about lighting tutorials, talking about camera settings and how to use a camera and why use certain camera angles, how color affects the mood and the tone of everything, how the way a camera moves, the way editing from one shot to another. And the next video that's coming out will be the edit to the beat and editing with music. So that's the next video that's coming out. It may, right now I think it's going to come out early next week, but I'm in the early stages of building that video out. I'm excited about it because, again, it's one of those ones where I want to make sure that I can communicate exactly. I want to drive the point home. I want to make sure that it's very clear upon the first watching what I'm trying to communicate and why one is very different than the other. I don't want to say one is better than the other, but they both have their place, and I'll explain in the video, and then maybe after the next live stream we'll kind of have a breakdown of what it all means and what you guys thought. So have any of you guys seen the latest video about either is Premiere dead? What do you guys think about that? Do you guys agree with my kind of thesis on why I think Premiere Pro is not going to do very well unless they change their whole aspect of how they approach? They may need to start over with the way they're going. So, and I think they're holding on as long as they can. Hello from Bulgaria. Svetlana, nice to have you here. I'm up for your lives, being nice BTS breakdown or in-depth analysis of thoughts and ideas. Yeah, so even that last video about what is actually important in communicating. Learn lighting first. That was the whole message of what I was trying to communicate, where lighting is so important and it needs time to really incubate in your mind and understand how powerful it is. And any camera, learning lighting first will make any camera a good camera. That was like the one line thesis of the entire video that I made. And it was really trying to communicate that. And then everything else is just skill stacking on top of it. The editing, the composition, and the framing. Those are the few first things that people look at. Because as soon as you pick up the camera, you want to be like, okay, I'm going to take a picture. And everyone when they pick up the camera for the first time always has that, they center everything up, but it's way too far out. And like the head is tiny and it's like right in the center of the frame. That's everyone's first photo. Good photo that isn't skewed or on a Dutch angle one way or another. I would not be surprised. They're big enough, but Blackmagic, I feel that either Blackmagic is going to buy Final Cut Pro or Apple will buy Blackmagic Design. I think there's something there. So yeah, I agree as well. Like I hope people don't get me wrong. I actually think Premiere Pro is a solid application and there is very powerful things that you can do in it. I just don't think that it's going to be able to compete. That's really what it comes down to. So weekly live streams are better. Monthly is too spaced out. That's what I felt like. The very first two that I did were a month apart. And then after I did my second one, I actually got really excited about doing the next one. I couldn't wait for it. It was this weird feeling where I couldn't wait to start over again the next one and have a discussion and chat, because it allows me to have these kind of conversations where share my thoughts that are a little bit deeper dives on everything. So what's answer? Perfect. Apple is more into iPhones than Pro Video. I don't think they want Blackmagic. Yeah, think of it this way, James. Apple they understand the power of good hardware. And Blackmagic is a hardware company first. And if they buy into that, they get cameras, they get all the video streaming platforms and hardware that they have. they have the Pro connections, which fit very nicely into their Pro Mac lineup. So if they do a shift that pushes more into the Pro world and more people want to use that kind of software and hardware integrations, there could be a big enough reason to buy that company. If Blackmagic is making a profit, Apple can just easily buy them out and continue improving on that. Now, the other way can happen as well, where Apple may just sell Final Cut Pro and it'll just get merged into DaVinci Resolve, which would also be great because my personal favorite NLE is Final Cut Pro, and it's just such a solid, the quickest in and out application that I've ever used. And I've used, I started on Avid Media Composer, then used I used Media 100, I used Premiere, I've used DaVinci, I've used Sony Vegas, I've used every single NLE. I started on tape to tape, and I started on, actually I started VCR to VCR when I was in my elementary days. And you do awesome live streams. And I don't know how you do it. You have constant topics to talk about. So I find that fascinating and interesting. I'm always trying to pop in, but your live streams get a little bit too late. So since I've already started learning Premiere, would you recommend starting from zero with DaVinci or learn Premiere and then when I'm comfortable? Well, you wouldn't be learning from zero. All the things that are in Premiere, after, if you know most of them right now, after about a day, max a week of you just going through a few tutorials on where the buttons are, I think DaVinci Resolve would be one of those things where it would feel really good. Now, depending on what you're using it for. So for me, it's definitely, I'm always skewed on the professional side. So when I'm thinking of doing, when I'm thinking of these applications, I'm always thinking of how would I use this for client stuff. I would actually recommend that if you have it, or if you're thinking about it, Final Cut, like even download for 30 days and try it out. Because if you're using it exclusively for YouTube, the graphics, the ability to do titles and graphics and all those kind of effects is so good in Final Cut Pro that it just blows the other two out of the water. Like, you don't have to learn After Effects, you don't have to learn Fusion, you don't have to do that. And because it's so integrated in a Mac platform, it is such a fast comparative NLE to the other two, especially if you're trying to get the quickest in and out. And if you're doing YouTube exclusively, it's one of the best. Like, just search up titles in Premiere versus DaVinci versus Final Cut, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you want to learn something that will kind of future-proof for the long run, DaVinci is probably the way to go, unless Apple or unless Adobe really shifts gears and starts to innovate on that side more than just like, ooh, content aware. I mean, it's because not everyone needs that kind of stuff. They just need something that you can start putting stuff into a timeline and edit, and you're in and out. Video Toaster for the win. Oh man, those Video Toaster effects. So good, so good. I am both mortified and nostalgic at the same time. We actually had to go, my friend and I, we had to go to the competing high school to use their video lab so we can use Video Toaster and all their whole video suite, because they had a video department and our high school didn't. And Video Toaster, man, oh man. Since CC 2017, Premiere is getting better, but their subscription method is not good for small content creators. Absolutely. Adobe, oh, you're coming back. Adobe Dynamic Link proved to be good. Workflow, Terminator, Dark Fate. David Fincher, he works exclusively in Adobe Premiere, and I think it's because he got sponsored by them, him and Red and all that. Like, he does everything in Premiere. And the workflow can be really good. But yeah, it's like $50 US a month to use Premiere plus Audition plus After Effects. And if you want to have Photoshop, like that's $50 a month. That's $600 a year. In the video that I made, I said that I spent over $4,500 just on the subscription. But I use it professionally every single day. For people that just use it for YouTube videos, ooh man, you better be making money, because that's a lot of expenses for that one application. That's why, like, I would just go DaVinci Resolve, build your package, your broadcast package, your effects, and like these kind of things. Where is it? Like these were done with MTuber thing. Like, just grab it and put it in. I didn't have to build it from scratch. Can I build that from scratch? Yes, I have. I have done that for many, many clients, where I build exclusive, perfectly created callouts and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I do. I can do that kind of stuff. But I'm using that because it's so much simpler and it already looks good. And I don't need to spend time trying to reinvent the wheel where it already looks good. Like, come on, that looks great. Why would I need to do something else? I would buy Final Cut Pro for $300 and call it a day, and just have Lightroom and Photoshop if you need that. But even that, I would look into the Affinity Suite. You can do all of that and save yourself $600. Well, $300 if you buy Final Cut. But with Final Cut, I bought Final Cut 10 in 2011 when they launched it for $300. I've been using it for a decade for $300. If I broke that out, what? That's like $3 a month? Come on. If you get used to the node system, it's easy. It's better than layers. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually one of the reasons why I haven't switched over to Fusion, because I'm so into the After Effects mindset, and also a lot of the work that I do professionally. I still need all those plugins that work in After Effects, like Red Giant, all the particular stuff. But even that, you can recreate it. But the teams that I work with right now are mostly in After Effects, and they do all their work there. So it's easy for me to just continue that and pass it forward. But if I was a solo creator, I don't know. I don't even think I would be using it. Download Final Cut, try it out. I don't want you to spend money. Try it out, but DaVinci can do the same things. But if you want it just for YouTube stuff, and you want to have those graphics and transitions and all that kind of stuff, then you can buy that through Motion VFX, and they're fantastic. But like, you pay once and you don't have to pay again. Hello. Lovro? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I'm going to say it. Yes, S video. Oh, God. No. Even more nightmares. Thank you, Luis, for that. So I just want to touch on the node-based system a little bit more with this comment, because when I was using DaVinci Resolve to do all the color grading, the node system at first was a little bit frustrating because just not used to it. And because I use Cinema 4D, they have this whole thing called Espresso, where you can do nodes and even Houdini. I was learning that, and it's once you get kind of familiar with it, and we can pipe all these different things. You can create one matte, and then it works for every piece instead of having to create a layer for all these or do some kind of weird scripting. It's more of a visual connect the dots kind of node tree. It's actually really good. So if this is one of the plugins were the biggest reasons for a lot of people not to do that. But with release 17, they created a whole new, or at least they tried to, a whole new interface to do all the titles, and they have so many more open effects that they have implemented it, and more people are writing plugins for it. And even on like Video Hive and all those places where you can buy templates, there's already, and Motion Array, there's all these places that are creating templates for DaVinci Resolve. So it's the thing that people are shifting their focus to. Like, and they almost released the same, Adobe released Mogerts, but DaVinci did the same thing where it's just Fusion plugins. And if you know how to tweak even a little bit in Fusion, you can customize all those, which is awesome. Just same thing with Final Cut. If you can tweak, if you know how to use Motion, a $50 application, if you know how to use Motion even a little bit, you can take almost all the effects that you can buy from Motion VFX and tweak them to your own liking. And that's what I've actually done with a lot of stuff, where it's just like, ooh, I wish it had this parameter. Ooh, I wish I can do that. Or I've created my own that I use, like that sliding effect. There was a version of that, but I created my own because I wanted more aspects from it. Oh, which reminds me, down in the description, whoever uses a Canon EOS R, EOS R6, and EOS R5, if you guys can go down into the description, there's a link for my Canon LUTs. For you guys today, if you guys can download that today, it's free, it's zero cost, $0, just put in your email. If you guys can download that, test it out. It's my base C-Lug color corrector, the one that I use, and my orange and teal, the subtle orange and teal, the same one that's on this stream right now, because I'm actually using that LUT going from C-Lug into this and out. So if you guys can download that LUT from the link in the description and test it out and give me your feedback, just make sure that when you do the white balance, it's set correctly. Otherwise, use the tutorial where you can, just tweak it ever so slightly. And you may need to bump up or down the exposure depending on how you actually expose your image. So if you guys can test it out and let me know what you guys think, that would be fantastic. I would love to hear your feedback, because I'm thinking of doing a LUT pack, but quite a few people have asked me what LUTs do I use, what do I recommend. I'm not a huge LUT fan. I usually create my own based on every project, like client project that I work on, and I created my own for my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Let me know if you guys like that. If you guys can test it out, that would be fantastic. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe this video. Let's do it, because I do have some stuff that I want to tell you about. All right. I hate subscriptions bought into the comfort and familiarity with Adobe. That I'm sold on Final Cut. Yeah. The next video that I'm doing, where it's the edit to the beat and edit with music, I'm actually going to be jumping back and forth between Final Cut and Adobe Premiere, because there's a function in Adobe Premiere that allows you to almost instantly edit to the beat, which is a easy way to do that. But so I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but I'm also going to talk about when to use it, how to use it, and all that fun stuff. So I want to talk to you guys about. Oh, wait. Ooh. Well, hey. So yeah, again, I want to talk about stuff that was on that shelf. If you guys have, who's that? Can anyone guess who that is? Leave a like and let me know in the chat what who this guy is. Who's that? He's one of my favorite. Lutwing, yes, Raphael Lutwing, perfect. All right. So I promised last week that I was going to tell you something that was on that shelf. I did not get to it. So I have to tell you about two things. Two things today. Wait, let me switch over to the right one and tell you about two things today. It is not Donkey. It is not Donkey. No. Here, I'll bring him. I'll bring him back up. He has a name, and he's from a movie, one of my favorite. They made 4 of them, and it's not Donkey. Because did they make 4? They made 4 Shreks too. Yeah, you're right. But it's not Donkey. No. So maybe I'll talk about him as the second thing, if you guys can't figure it out. So first thing is this item is that. Let's see. Can I focus on it? Let's see. Come on. There he is. Look at that guy. Look at him. Look at that guy. He's awesome. So my wife got me this when we went on a trip to Paris. And we got him, I'm pretty sure we got him in old Paris. On Paris on the mountain. If you guys, I can't remember what it's called. Montpellier? No, that's the city that we liked. It's Zebra. It's not Zebra. Sugar. Oh, sugar honey iced tea. So here, let me change it up here. Boom. So this little character, because cinematographer, also the directing that I would do, just the camera work, and I love this little guy. And it's all from like bolts and metal and just like scrap metal, I think. It's one of my favorite little art pieces. I love it. So anyways, that reminds me of Paris, which is where this hat came from. This is actually a custom-made hat. It's a custom-made hat made in France for me to my head size, because when we got there, we left my favorite hat in the back of a rental car, and I was so upset that we had to get a new hat, custom made from France. It's a beautiful, like, just the guy that made the hat, like, it was one of those straight out of the movie places where this older guy in his 70s walking slow, just like overalls, the entire store was just down one of those streets where you walk in, it's like, it looked like an antique shop, and it was just hats. And he literally made a hat for me from scratch, fitted to my head. And it was straight Montmartre. That's what it was. Thank you. Absolutely. And yeah, it was just one of those straight out of the movie things where I wanted to get a new hat, because the one that my favorite hat I left in the car and we lost it, and it was there. So, audio's getting low. How is that? A little bit better? Hello? Now I'm too loud. Oh. Is that better? Can you see me now? All right. Stop moving. All right. So, does anyone know who that guy is? No. All right. Let me show you who that guy is. First person to guess this guy's name. Come on. Who is he? Come on, you know who he is. Bullseye! Bing, ding, 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 ding. That's right. Nice. It's a Bullseye. And then Woody goes on here. I love these toys. Anyways. Put Bullseye here. No. We've had that guy, I don't know what, 10 years now? Yeah, so that is the second thing. And like, we have the entire Toy Story collection, the original ones, the first round, and all three of our kids have played with them and they love them, and they've actually held up so well. Just love it. So that's why you're going to see a lot of Pixar stuff, because Pixar is by far, when people say storytelling is king, they're the epitome of great storytelling, like perfect. I would say they've written perfect scripts. But that's collaboration. That's why it takes 3 years to write these things. And they have this open space, this open, safe space where people come in. Talk about starting over. There's so many. If you've ever watched any of the behind the scenes of any of these movies, they talk about how they have this original draft of the script and they do the boards. They do like a year's worth of work on the story. And then they bring in all the other directors and all the top artists that they have there, the most trusted, the brain trust. And they just watch the movie and they literally start asking questions. And the feeling of them asking those questions and knowing that you have to answer them somehow. And they leave it up to the director to answer those questions, but they literally have to go back and start over and scrap the entire idea. If you ever seen the behind the scenes, it's not necessarily Pixar, but it's from Zootopia. There was a whole other story arc that's just gone, that they just eliminated and went a completely different way. It's amazing being in such a collaborative, safe environment where people literally will pick apart the entire project that you're working on, where everyone there must be like, ooh, this is the that's the feeling that they must have, knowing that they have to start again. But it's not starting again. It's not. It's like a video game, where video games used to be like, well, you're going right to the beginning of the game. Now it's like, okay, you've done all these things. You know the things you need to jump across. You know the things that you need to bounce from. And you don't have to start from the beginning. And because they're in a safe place. And that's an important lesson, is know that it is resetting. Absolutely. It is. It's always resetting. It's always refining. It's always trying to make stuff better. And that's why sometimes restarting is so important. And it's one of those things where you have to remember that you don't have to start over again alone. You don't have to do these things alone. You don't have to feel like it's all on you. Like, always, like, try to find a mentor, try to find a friend that will help, or at least be able to talk it through and be like, okay, this is why I stopped it and I'm starting again. And, have those things. It's such an important thing to have those sounding boards, those people in your life that are able to help you restart those big things in your life. Because like I was complaining about restarting a video. It's like, okay, it wasn't really a big deal, but it was the difference between starting it and scrapping it and then finishing it. So like, there are people that I reached out to and said, like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, should I continue it? And everyone that gave me their feedback, like, that's what I try to strive for. Those same kind of safe places that you can be in with other creative brain trust people that you do trust, and have them help you out. Like, finding those mentors, finding those people that are, on the same footing as you, and the people that you trust, and have their opinion. Like, and ultimately it will be up to you to make the final decision. They don't need to dictate what you do. They just need to give you that perspective that you're not going to see in that moment. And it's so amazing when it happens. And then you just have that moment where you're like, oh yeah. And then, like, you're going down this path and there's no instant up, but then you kind of reach that low point and you start coming back up. You get past the valley of despair and you're like, oh yeah, it's an important place, and it's important things that you need to have in your life. So when you find those people, those are the people that you hold on to and you hold on tight, and those are the people that you go back, and those are the people that you trust. So it's always interesting knowing that restarting is a fact of life, and knowing that life is literally the longest thing you can do. So just tomorrow's a new day. If you need to take a break, tomorrow's a new day. Get some sleep and start again. That's it. And you're never starting from zero. So just imagine if you had to wake up and just be, in your baby body and be like, okay, well, I have to do all that up into the, yeah, anyways. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, right? So, why am I touching the screen? It's not a touch screen. That's so weird. Look at me go. Oops. Would it have bothered me if it was just sitting there unfinished? Yes, 100%. And I don't think I would have completely scrapped it. I just would have restarted again at a later date. But I think it was more important for me to get it out now, because it's done is better than perfect. So when it comes to YouTube, done is better than perfect. When it's client work and it needs to be perfect because that's what they're paying for, then you put in that effort, you put in that time, and you figure it out. But when working on client work, that's when those teams come in handy. So if you're working on something that is bigger than your scope, that's when you get help. That's when you find those people that will be able to help you get it done. Kill your darlings. It's hard to do it. Oh man, especially if you're invested in creating it. Yes. But for the sake of for good story, sometimes it's worth it. Do you know how many times I have worked on scenes, full-on scenes, not only just shots, but full-on scenes in movies or in commercials or in whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, that's been cut from the movie." It's like, that was like 4 months worth of work. Just, cut. So, yeah, and sometimes you just need to, it doesn't serve the story. So, and when you put that kind of foot forward and you understand that it always needs to serve the purpose and serve the story. And that's why when I did the latest video, it really came down to like, I want this to be as clear as possible. There's no problem in overthinking. Just overthink everything and can be completely immobile, petrified, and never do. Oh, wait, cancel that. No. Overthinking is good. Critical thinking is better. So understanding that it's like, what went wrong? Why is it going wrong? What can be done to make this better? And that's one of the things that my wife always helps me with. It's like, okay, yes, that's a problem. What can we do to fix it? How do we fix it? How can we move forward from here to get it done? And it's the right mindset is so powerful. It's crazy. It's craziness. More than once. More than once. And it happens. If you ever watch the deleted scenes of even some of the biggest movies, there are shots that take weeks and months to do, and then it's only like a second in the entire movie, or it's just gone completely. I think Naomi Scott was in a movie with, I think, Tom Cruise. I can't remember. She was in one of the big movies, and she got all excited. She went to the premiere. She's like, "I'm in this movie," and then they cut her entire scene. Is quite funny to watch. Thank you. It definitely helped having the right people to bounce off ideas. So I thank you for that. Yeah, it felt like a good video, and I definitely wanted to make sure that it did get out there. Did I miss any comments? Just going through them. Just gonna have to make sure. So before you guys bounce out of this video, if you haven't done so already, give me a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that something, good video, something, likes are appreciated. I always appreciate the early thumbs up, but we're late in the game. Yeah, it is so. How are you guys liking YouTube? When the people here that are actually doing YouTube, how are you guys finding it? Do you guys like it? Do you like the start and restart? I like it. I like the challenge of trying to come up with ideas that I think you guys will like to watch, and that the people in general will get value from. That is the I was talking with Jassim earlier today, and it's like, I think every new YouTuber needs to hear that. Just make videos people want to watch. That's it. Not worrying about the gear, not worrying about how, even the lighting. Like, just make videos that people want to watch. The lighting helps, the editing helps, the sound helps. All that helps. But is it something that people will watch? You're making me hungry. I see every video upload like a sandwich. Once it's done, it's just there for someone else to consume. Yeah, absolutely. And they have a life of their own. Like, in my back catalog of videos, I'm getting so many more views on older videos than I am with a lot of the newer ones. So I feel like I've done something right in the longevity, the evergreen kind of content. That was the kind of stuff that I really wanted to focus on. I didn't want to chase trends. There's a few things that I want to put my spin on, my insider thoughts, like what I actually think about, and put it into a video. But I actually like this a little bit better, where I get to expand on the thought and actually have a conversation that's a bit more in depth than just like, hey, new Canon cameras coming out. Again, like, the rumor videos are interesting, but when I have an actual thought that is like more than just these are the specs of the rumors, but why it's good and how I'm going to use it if I get to use it. But I agree wholeheartedly. That last 90-second video that you did was so perfect in terms of just how quickly you got through all those great points. I hope so. I hope that the videos that I like watching, I feel like they're helping a lot of people, and they helped me. So I feel that I want to give back in the same way. I love the challenge. I hate the timing requirements of the algorithm, but knowing me, if it wasn't for that, I'd never have a good video. That's not true. That's not true. You just need to do the same thing that we all have to learn. First, understand how to make a good video, which I think you already know. And then it's, how do you get the people out there to find it? And that's where the CEO, not the CEO, the SEO of the videos become very, very important. But I'm going to be wrapping it up. I just want you guys to know, to kind of reiterate what we were talking about earlier. Restarting is, even if the fruit isn't there, show up. Even if your critics tell you to quit, show up and restart. Even when you're too tired and tempted to just call it a day and not restart, show up, start again. And as always, thanks for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm Raphael. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.